Hi, so great to be with you all today. Today we are pleased to have Josh and Alisha Garber serving with us in Barcelona, and their son Asher, who is amusing himself off camera, but we might see an appearance or hear something from him. We'll see. So Josh and Alisha have been serving in Barcelona for about 3 years. Most of the time they've been busy with language study, culture study, attending church, and getting more and more involved as time goes on. So I wanted to give them a chance to share with all of you about how life has been for them during this pandemic. As many of you know, Spain was hit really hard early on, and there's been a lot of losses there, and we grieve those losses. So I was talking with them last week just about, checking in and seeing how things were going, and they started telling some really cool stories. So I thought having them be with us on Hope Around the World would be a great idea. So let's jump right into it. Josh and Alisha, you have your son Asher, who's 4, and his education at preschool was suddenly disrupted by this pandemic, and all of a sudden you had all these hours home alone, confined to your property, to your house and yard and garden with an energetic 4-year-old. So how has that been going?
Not without its challenges, I'll be honest. Starting March 12th or so, Asher wasn't able to go to school anymore. And he's a very curious child and a very energetic child, as you said. And we didn't want his education to stop just because he couldn't go to school. And I've been really fortunate to spend time with him every morning, learning something new. And it's been really amazing to watch his brain develop and him make connections. And a lesson we had last week, he'll apply to something we're doing and talking about today. And he'll say, "Oh, we learned about this." And I'll ask him to tell me more. And it's so beautiful. And seeing his vocabulary expand and the way that he makes connections has been really, really cool to witness.
Today he said something was massive. It was awesome.
And what was it last week? He was talking about what a chrysalis is, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because every 4-year-old knows about chrysalis.
Why not?
That's awesome. So you've really seen him be able to grow and expand his knowledge and his understanding. And of course, most of us aren't homeschooling except for now. Many people are. So to be able to witness that right in front of your eyes and to be able to give him meaningful work sounds like it's been a real joy, not without its challenges, like you said.
More than anything, we didn't want this time of confinement to be a bad memory for him. We didn't want him to look back and think about what he missed out on and how he isn't with his friends and how it's so hard to be home all the time. We wanted him to build good memories and positive memories. And I think every day we're doing that. And so it's really a blessing to spend that time with him that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah, today is a random example. He was dressed as a squirrel hopping around in the patio, doing counting games. And he was having fun. Yeah, I was having fun watching.
That's great. That's great. So Asher and you all are going to come out of this having maintained his learning and perhaps even increased, having given him opportunities that he wouldn't have in a larger group setting, in a classroom setting. So that's great. And I'm so glad to hear that you found good resources to use for curriculum planning and that you have risen to the challenge. And that's exactly the way I know you and affirm who you are for doing that. So that's wonderful. Let's turn a little bit to church life. So like many of us, we're finding ways to use technology to maintain some kind of worship space, to maintain some kind of community and relationships. What all have you been doing there in Barcelona?
We're having a lot of the same challenges, I think, as every other church is. I've been staying pretty busy assembling all the videos and putting the church service together, so it's something that allows the community to continue momentum. And it's been a sharp learning curve for everybody. I do video work, but this is a different type for sure. But also, we've been forced into a place of setting aside our own formulas and the way things are always done. And from our perspective, it's led to a lot of creativity. And that's actually really cool, because the church in Europe needs to be creative and kind of prophetic. And this is a chance for a really strong moment of trying something new. So it's had its challenges, but it's been really good challenges. They're good challenges.
So church life has continued on, just in a different way, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's virtual, which honestly for this community is a challenge, because in a very Mediterranean way, the church meeting is about being with one another and hugging each other and giving each other kisses. And that actually was probably the emphasis of most church meetings from our perspective. And now we don't have that, but we see this growth in terms of the community thinking about, well, what are the contents of our service? What are we actually talking about? Do we believe this? Do we not? So it's a shift. And I know the community is really eager for a time when they can be back together, but it feels like positive growth.
It's a different kind of richness, and it's been really
okay. Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that creativity is coming out, new forms of worship, and maintaining relationships in a different way, but also meaningful. So what other kinds of silver linings have you noticed in this very dark cloud of the pandemic?
Well, in Asher School, the parents made a chat group that was more or less a communications channel. Things like, hey, does your kid have my kid's hat? Kind of message. A lot of stuff in Catalan, which is another language that's spoken here that we don't really understand yet. And that group has changed into a very relational group. And it's one that we didn't really put a lot of time into now, but Alisha is like right in the midst of that group. She is like a celebrity, I think. And so I can let you speak a little bit to what that's been like, but I've been watching from the side, just being like, wow, this is unexpected.
No, it is. It's been kind of crazy. This group before, like Josh said, it was really impersonal and just matter of fact, but I find myself every day exchanging texts with other moms and dads that are in the same challenging boat that we're in, trying to maintain sanity while parenting and schooling children in the home, and being able to exchange activities and educational websites and trade ideas for books and for crafts and for songs has been really cool and encouraging. And, we may see another parent do a craft one day and we'll adapt it and use it the next day. And it's been so cool to have this media where we can exchange ideas and thoughts, even across cultural boundaries, and be there to support one another through the quarantine together. And having Asher look through my WhatsApp and see the photos of his friends and what they're learning inspires him and makes him ask questions. And, Neil got to do this, or Kim got to do this, or Alicia did this today. And, we adapt those ideas and apply them so he can have a shared experience even from a distance.
Well, and it feels like we're actually getting to know other people in our neighborhood, which in a large urban environment, that's actually really difficult. Right. And especially as outsiders, it's been very challenging. But now there's talks about when this is over, we're going to have people over to do, X and X and X. And it's really, I don't know, that's an exciting thing about the future, is that we have relationships we didn't before.
Yeah. It's strangely bringing people close together, even though we're at a distance.
Yeah, that's kind of the mystery of the separation and what it can do to change what you focus on, who you focus on, the things you think about, the things you realize you missed that you didn't know you missed before, and all of that. So great. So we're going to bring this time to a close here. But I'm aware from our conversation last week and since that you were asked to officially start a youth group. You have been working with youth. You've been relating to youth in the church ever since you got there, just flowing out of your interest in them. But now it was officially supposed to be starting at this time. So can you just talk a little bit about where people can go to learn more about that story?
Yeah, so actually we just blogged about this. I think there'll be a link to, if you want to read that, in the description. But we got this go ahead, and towards the end of January, we started collaborating with the youth to build a program that they would really enjoy. And then lockdown happened. Yeah. And that was a shock, because our past experience working with youth could kind of apply, but also it's all like a new frontier. And so the blog is a little bit about what has that been like to start a youth program during a pandemic.
Yeah. Crazy timing.
Well, we're so lucky though to have technology and resources that make it possible, through Zoom calls or for Skype, or we've been doing Netflix party just as ways to be casual and have social time together. And it's been so cool to see how the youth have adapted and how their curiosity has grown in different directions that if we were face to face, it may not have happened.
Yeah,
they have nothing but time for us now.
They have their undivided attention.
no excuses. Very good. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today and for giving us more reasons to be hopeful, things to celebrate, even though there is so much pain and so much suffering at this time. And Barcelona and all of Spain has not been spared, which you can read about all over the news. So thank you very much for taking this time. Give our love and our greetings to Asher, and take care.
All right. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.